Hey guys, just a quick video to help you put the pieces together, in your own minds at least, from what we were working on in class today. I know you were cutting some pieces at my direction. You maybe didn't know exactly what we were working on, but I'd like to show you what we were working on right now so you can get a sense of it. What we have here is basically just a simple deadfall trap. This one's made with a log. One of the benefits of making it this way is that you can actually perch the entire trap up in the branches of a tree. It may enable you to catch something like a small squirrel or something like that that would normally stay up in the tree. There's obviously a top section and a bottom section, and it's designed so that the top section will fall down onto the bottom section and hopefully catch something. The trigger mechanism is what we're working on today. You can see there are three pieces to it. There's a lower piece, which is here, an upper piece, and then there's this trigger mechanism across here. You'll notice that the upper piece is notched, and that notch is resting on the top of the lower piece, and the trigger mechanism actually holds the two from unhinging. It holds them in a fixed position. The idea, of course, is that if an animal were to come along and try to take a bite of any sort of bait that would be on the trigger mechanism, that they would end up with the wood on their head. It's not a big piece of wood, but probably enough to injure and possibly kill and hopefully pin down a small animal. It would be a good idea for me just to mention that in most states it's illegal to hunt animals without a license, so this is not something I recommend you ever do, even out in your backyard. It's something certainly could be dangerous if a child were to come across it and dislodge the trigger mechanism and let the trap fall on a foot or a hand or an arm. And again, it could be illegal to trap animals in this way. The reason that I want you to learn it, two main reasons. The first one is just to become proficient with your knife, to be able to actually use your knife to create some particular thing that you need out of what you find out in the woods. Maybe it's a branch, maybe it's a log. The second reason is it is a good skill to have to be able to trap an animal if you're ever in a situation where that's required. Obviously, if it's an emergency and you have to choose between dying or eating a squirrel, you eat the squirrel. So I'd like you to give that some thought over the weekend if you can. See if you can sort of understand how the pieces fit together. I'm just going to show you that up a little bit closer real quick. So basically there's a base piece. It's been chiseled to one side, that it's been bevel cut on one side. You can see that. And the upper piece has a notch in it, which you were working on in class today. And the notch just fits on top of that piece like that. Sometimes it's tempting to turn your base piece around to the other side. That's not going to work very well, because as my top piece hinges down, it's actually going to pop it off of there. You can see it just sort of pops it right off. That's not going to work. So make sure your upper piece is resting on the base piece, the lower piece, from the side that is flat. That way there I'm free to hinge this up and down a little bit more without running into the problem of it popping off. As far as the trigger mechanism goes and how you set it up, the best way to set it up is to lift up the log or the deadfall, the rock, whatever it is you're using. Lift it up and get this piece in place. Get your base piece and your upper piece. Get those in place and let it take up the full weight of the log. You can just hold this with your hand. Once you've got your hand on there, you can take your trigger piece, which has two notches cut in it, and fit it in there like this. And then just sort of let this open up, and it will grab, it'll take up a tension on there and will actually hold the weight of it. Just so you can see a little bit about this. This is my base piece. You see it has a notch cut in the side, and that notch is made to receive the notch on my trigger mechanism. So give that some thought. See if you can work with it. If you have an opportunity to head out in the woods and give it a try at home, and as long as your parents are okay with that, then I recommend that. And at the very least, just try to see if you can make sense out of it in your own mind. Also, if you want to check on YouTube, there's a lot of great videos out there about deadfall traps and trigger mechanisms. There's a number of different ways to make trigger mechanisms. I strongly recommend you check that out. I'll see you on Monday.